villains and innocent bystanders. Welcome to another episode of An Angel and a Unicorn Comic Book Reviews. I'm Alan the Unicorn, and with me,
Just James.
We will be reviewing the books for the week, and we have to go quickly because James has got places to go and things to do, missions to save, worlds are at peril, lots of stuff. So we will be spoiling the books of the week. If you haven't read your books, pause, wait, come back, and if not, we'll spoil them for you anyways. Until then, I'll let James take it over.
All right. My first book that I'll be reviewing this week is, let's go with Reaver from Image Comics. We've reviewed this before.
We did the number one, yeah.
Yep. It's by Justin Jordan and Rebecca Isaacs and Alan Guimarães. I apologize to Alex. The kind of a medieval type world. The setup was a kind of a Suicide Squad, a ragtag bunch of misfits are sent out on this mission to find and stop a kingdom that is using some kind of magic to see the future and use that to win battles they shouldn't and take over the world.
World of Peril, misfits, bad guys.
Yeah. So this one, the misfits are on the trail. A lot of banter back and forth. There's the big invulnerable guy, and then the small kind of wildling, the misunderstood soldier, the foppish kind of pseudo aristocrat.
Yes.
And then the two mysterious guides. So as the guides tell them they have to go in as prisoners, and none of the people are very excited about being in chains. The little wildling, the one guy's like, well, we can go through the wildling land. We've got an agreement with them. And the wildling with them says, there's like thousands of tribes. If you may have agreement with one of them, but yeah, if we walk through here at night, we're gonna die. So, they're all learning. They're learning about each other's cultures, and the the misunderstood soldier and the wildling kind of starting to bond. She's my favorite. But she's talking about, they call me the skin eater. And he's like, why is that? She's like, because I eat skin.
Yeah, pretty much, because I eat them, because I get their memory. She feels like she gets their memories and everything from them, so, yeah.
So,
she's kind of my favorite, too.
Yeah.
Her and the big guy.
Yep. So the next morning they wake up and she's gone. And, the misunderstood soldier goes looking for her, and she jumps out and tells him to be quiet, that they're about to be ambushed, and so then they run away, and this large invading force chases them, and the big guy goes to kill him. They're like, there's dozens of them. What are we going to do? He's like, yeah, I was hoping it'd be a fair fight.
Yeah.
But... So, and then the two guides are doing something with blood magic. They acted like everything was going to be fine because they cast this blood magic, but then all that really happened was pink smoke. I don't
It kind of was like it was clouding them so that they could get like so they were protected because the spears were they saw them and so they kept chucking the spears and we're waiting so it kind of gave them camouflage or cover.
I was a little confused as to I thought it was gonna be like more of a spell than a smoke grenade, but anyway, you get the sense that the big guy wants to die because he charges into battle and they can't hurt him and he's like, come on, you can do better.
Yeah.
So and then the wildling tells him, if you kill the leader, everyone else will quit. So she and the
soldier
and the soldier, he covers her with spears and she charges him and kills him, and predictably all the rest of the soldiers flee, and she chows down on his skin, but she's still endearing. and the fop sees a girl running away, and they assume he's going to kill her or do something unspeakable to her, and he comes back with her. She had grabbed a message pouch, but he'd let her go, but he wanted everybody to think that he killed her, I guess, so they think ill of him, even though he's not that bad of a bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this issue. So, just a good, fun book. The art's really good.
Yeah.
The characters they're fun developing. We've talked about this before, that being dumped into a world that you know nothing about, and there's bad ways to do it and good ways to do it. This feels like a good way.
So far, yeah.
It's you're a little confused, but you feel like you're confused where you feel like you should be confused, and
you want to know
okay.
more. It's yeah. It's a confusion
as opposed to the kind of books where you're like, I feel like they think I should already know this.
Yeah, I don't know why. I agree. And there's not really honestly, I feel like it's not a super original book.
No.
There's very tropish stuff and a lot of things that have been done before, but it's still fun. I still enjoy the characters, I still enjoy the art, I enjoy the story. I want to see what's going to happen. I enjoy the development, but
yep.
It's kind of like a Zenescope book where it's just it's just a good book.
So I give it a good 4.
Yeah, I would agree. 4.5. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do The White Trees. If my pad will work, we will see. Let's see. So, this is definitely a mature reader book. Definitely not a kid book at all. So it starts off with it's got this guy. He's kind of a farmer, but he's doing his thing. They bring him into the king, and the king is you find out he was one of the king's warriors, and with him there's 2 other guys that come in that are kind of supposed to be the big 3 warriors, and so they the king tells them that that all this stuff has happened with this other kingdom, and they're like, yeah, so we're going to war, whatever. And he goes, yeah, but they also stole your kids. And they're like, hold on, wait a minute, what? So then that gives them, they all have a reason to go back into battle. They argue why they don't want to go. And you find out that 2 of the, there's one that's looks like a Chewbacca, Wookiee-ish, man-beast character. And then there's a slender, elfish kind of character. You find out they're together. So they, but the...
So it's Han and Chewie?
Yeah, so it's Han and Chewie. Although he's not really a rogue. He's more of a, I don't know, he's more of a highfalutin, nice person. He's not as rough and tumble as Han.
Thanks for ruining it for me.
You're welcome, I know. It's not that quite close enough to that, but I'm sure you can find some kind of fan fiction. So the Beast character, the big guy Beast character, he's it's his daughter that's kidnapped, and but in turn because they've been together, he's like he's your it's your daughter too, and he's like yes I know. He goes but I have a cooler head and da da da. So they get they don't think the other guy's coming, and the other guy's son is gone, and come to find out that the son and the daughter were together. So they were not. The son was supposed to be fishing in another place, and he told his dad that he was actually fishing, and they kidnapped him and the daughter another place where like they were together. So he's like, "How long have you known about this?" So that comes up later. So they go to where they were kidnapped to see if they can find any clues, and as they're going, they're kind of bonding. But when they get to the place where they got kidnapped, all of a sudden this woman jumps out and grabs the big beast guy and like has a knife to his throat and threatens him. And come to find out that's his wife. That's his old wife. So, it's his ex-wife. So, the ex-wife is there to help find the kids, too. And they are like, why don't you come along? And she's like, no, I'm going to stay here for when they spring the trap. And I'm going to get information from whoever shows up to spring this trap. Because when they kind of figure out, they're like, it's kind of a trap. It seems like there's like, all this stuff. So, but you find out that the ex-wife and the new boyfriend or new partner or whatever it is, they get along really well because they understand why the other guy's kind of a jerk. So they like they kind of bond over it. So it was kind of interesting dynamic. I was like, oh, you feel like there's been some years beyond this, and she was the one that left him anyways. So like and you kind of they kind of say that too. He's like, well, she left me, and he goes, and his partner's like, I know why she left you. You're a jerk. And so he's like, but you're endearing and da 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 da. So they set off again to find their kids, and they come in contact with a dragon. Well, the dragon's like the elf and the big guy, the furry creature goes flying out, and they like attack the dragon, and the dragon like knocks them back. Well, the kind of humanish character, the farmer, he just grabs an axe, looks at the dragon in the face, and just stares him down, and walks past him, and cuts his chains off, and then the dragon flies away. And they're like, "Did you just stare down a dragon?" And he's like, "Yes, I did." So he's just, he's kind of like a man on a mission. And then they have like little flashbacks where they show you like their family dynamic and them bonding with their kids and stuff like that. But then this is where it gets a little awkward. So they're in the forest, and the farmer guy sets off to go hunt forage for food. Well, while he's there, there is some fairy creatures that show up, and then the other two people, the elf and the furry guy, are at the camp, and all of a sudden there are multitude of fairies, no clothes, full frontal, on everybody. All for the eye to see. Everybody has something. Like there is a multitude of body parts and things and places and positions that it gets a little more mature. So there's like a big giant like happy scene, and but then they are trying to seduce the farmer guy, and they find out that he's just kind of determined that he's not going to fall for their magic, and so he kind of breaks them. They break up. And when he comes back to the camp, they realize that that they're all kind of under this spell. But he comes back, and he is kind of has like this little moment with his son, like a flashback, and that's where it ends. It kind of concludes that the son is he's kind of a painter, so he paints death, and he's worried about his mother and all this kind of stuff like that. So there's a little bit of heartfelt moment, a family moment, but it ends there. And so, I thought it was really fun. Like, I thought it was really neat. I really liked the characters. Again, not super original characters. I mean, I feel like at this point in as much history as there is, I feel a lot of it's been done. I think being original is really difficult. But
there are
still
only
writing
7 original stories in the world.
See, there you go. Like, I don't doubt that. Like 7 types. Anyways, for another story. We got things we got to get done. So, I think it's really good. The art's really talented. It's very beautiful. It is super mature, and it is super like a little filthy, but I tastefully filthy. Like I don't know how to put it. I'm like I don't know. Like I can definitely see where this would be awkward for some people, but so all in all, but I really enjoyed the story. Sans nudity, like it was still a good story. I'm kind of interested to see where they're gonna go with this, and I really did enjoy like I said, the artwork was really good. The characters were really fun. So I get 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. I actually enjoyed this one, so I'm looking forward to number 2. I mean, I don't know how much nudity is going to be in that one either, but hopefully they'll.
If you're one of our viewers who's not reached the age of majority yet,
not for you.
Talk to your parents.
18 later, because we're not ruining anybody's life here. We're not shattering any worlds here. All right, go quickly.
Okay. Next up, perennial favorite, Outer Darkness.
I didn't get to read this yet.
By John Layman and Afu Chan. This is kind of a short and sweet. It's like more of a setup issue. It's quick and dirty, but it's leading into a.
I feel like that's what they did though. They had like 3 or 4 issues where they led into the last 2, and then the last 2 stories in the arc were kind of like they kind of brought everything to a head.
So they flash to a space station. It's 3 weeks ago, and one of the researchers, it's like a greenhouse type station. One of the researchers is thornbush starts growing super fast. And it cuts one of them, and so they're gonna. One of the guys grabs a pair of hedge clippers to cut down the thorns. Well, once he grabs them, he gets possessed or something, and he kills them. And he runs out in the hall, and there's another possessed person with a battle axe. And they do battle, and so then it goes ahead to the first officer, and he's torturing the guy that's demon possessed, who the demon likes to be tortured. That's the only way to calm the demon down. So and he's trying to reinforce to this demon that he serves the first officer because the first officer wants the captain dead. So then the crone comes in and says that she has foreseen there's going to be an opportunity to get rid of the captain coming up. Tells him to take the knife with the first officer, take the knife with him. So then it jumps to current time, and the ship's at the research station, and the station's gone dark, and they've been sent to investigate. So they're gonna send the first officer down. They ask the crone if she sees anything. And she sees the first officer stabbing the captain, and she's like, "Nope, don't see anything." And
nothing today for you.
So the first officer and his team are gonna head down and check it out. Well, then the captain's friend, the Islander, I guess, the voodoo guy, he notices that a friend of theirs was on the research station. So the captain's like, "Hang on, we're coming with you. There's a friend of ours down there." So the first officer says, opportunity. And so they go onto the ship, and everybody's dead, and there's knives and swords and axes and stuff just everywhere. It's a total chaos. And they're trying to figure it out. And one of the crewmen says, "I've noticed some of these blades are disappearing and new ones are appearing," and everyone's like, "Well, don't touch it, dummy." And he touches one. Well, then he gets possessed by the blade spirit, and he goes off and starts killing people, and so they're all killing each other. So
Hilarity ensues.
yeah, the captain's like, we got to try to put him down without killing him. Well, then the first officer sees his moment and comes up behind the captain and stabs him. And the
Islander guy.
the voodoo islander guy sees this happening, so he comes over and knocks the first officer out before the captain dies. And the captain says, you know, he could feel that he's getting possessed. He says, don't touch any of the knives, knock me out, take us all back to the ship and quarantine us and fix us. So the captain wakes up and he's been rid of the possessing force. It was a malignant blade murder spirit, and he says the exorcist crew, he's like, only is this, you know, 4 people were attacking each other, but only 3 of us were possessed. And the captain's like, I knew it. That first officer, he wasn't he wasn't under control of the blades. And so he says, you know what this means? He's like, first officer had a chance and he took it. He won't have another.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
The big confrontation is on the way.
It's on its way.
It's on.
It's
So, just kind of short, but advances the plot. And
I still love it. Like I love that book. Like I just the action is fun. The pit. I mean, it's just well done. I love it. It's just interesting and fun and weird and wacky and just odd and right up my alley.
Yep.
Super excited. Which is really funny because like there is no strong female characters in there, and like I actually really love this book.
Well, the last one had 2 strong female characters.
Yeah, the
nun
one
and the gal that's on the
nun,
secret mission.
Yeah, the nun just kind of is cowering though. She's
I think she's gonna become a badass.
I hope so because
Thunder Nun.
Thunder Nun. Yes. I forgot to say earlier the White Trees. It was Image published it, and it was by Chip Zdarsky and Chris Anka. So I wanted to say that before I went on to my next book. The next one I'm going to do is Once and Future by Boom. It is Kieran Gillen and Dan Mora. And Kieran Gillen and me have a love-hate relationship. I don't know why, but I feel like he has like no idea that he's writing things. I feel like he's just writing things for himself. And half the time I don't know what's going on. So, but fortunately, wait for it. So in this book, it starts off with they find this scabbard, and it's this lake that's dried out. They find the scabbard, and when the guy's like there's a guy and a girl, and the girl all of a sudden she opens the tent, and now these guys come in and they kill the other guy because he knows, and they take the scabbard. Then it cuts to kind of a different place, and it has this old lady, and she is they realize she's listening to the news, and they're gonna change it to something else because she's like in this nursing home, and they're all like, we want to watch something else, and she's like, no, and she goes, if you do, I will stab you, like pretty much. And I
love the way she said it. She was like, broken bones heal so slowly at our age.
Yeah.
I really don't want to have to break your fingers, but I will.
Yeah.
Change channels.
Exactly. So they're like,
she's like a badass.
Yeah, they're like, news is fine. So she's kind of a crotchety old lady. I like it. And she kind of gets one of the orderlies to let her go out and smoke. So it cuts to a different place, and it's a guy and a girl on a date, and he's flubbing it up. He's spilt stuff all over her and just having a hard time. And all of a sudden he gets a call from the nursing home that says that she's missing. Then he gets a call, and then he gets a call from his grandmother, and she's like, I'm in the forest. Come find me. Come pick me up. And he's like, and then he feels really bad. He's like, look, I'm so sorry. I hope I can make it up to you. And she's like, she actually kind of finds it endearing that he's doing this. And so it cuts to him. He's looking for her. He finds her. She's like digging in the dirt. And she's like, could you help me dig all this up because I'm dying because I'm old. And he's like, why are you even out here digging? But he helps her, and he uncovers this giant pit.
My favorite line was, how did you get out here? She's like, I took an Uber. He says, do you know how expensive that is?
She
says,
it's a free
app.
It's
a free app.
Yeah.
I don't know why they asked for my credit card number if it's a free app.
But you have a sense she's being like
she's super capable, but she hasn't really embraced the modern world.
I disagree. I think she's being sarcastic, like being like,
no, I think
it's a free app. I thought it was free. You know?
No, I think she's like, she's always been so capable. She didn't bother to learn the modern world.
That's
stuff.
possible. That's possible.
Because I'll just deal with it as it comes up.
But they uncover this giant bunker that has all this stuff, and basically she reveals...
It's like a weapons cast straight out of Terminator 2.
Yeah, it really is. Like, there's just all kinds of crap in it.
And she tells him that it's...
she's been a monster hunter for life.
She's like, I used to be a vampire hunter. And he's like, you quit? And she's like, I ran out of vampires.
Yeah. they stopped showing up.
I killed them all.
So then she talks about a questing beast, and all of a sudden this giant beast is like, I don't even know, like part lion, part cheetah, part cow, part snake, part dragon. I don't know. It's got all kinds of body parts. It's kind of like, what is the...
Scary AF.
Yes. So
Ask your parents what
I
AF
would not.
means.
I would not. This would make me pee myself a little bit. So she's like distracted. So he's like, what? So he goes running off, and he's like running, and finally she's like, I found it. I found it. She's like, come back. And so he comes
leading
running
back to me.
Yeah. So he goes running back. She throws him this spear, and he holds it up. He's ready to stab the snake, and the snake just walks. Or the beast just stops and stares at him and walks off. And she's like, don't chase it, because if you chase it, you'll be chasing it forever. And so it's kind of like this thing where it's like, I guess you have to confront it, and then once you confront it, it'll go away.
It's like a portent or something, and
yeah. So they go on, they get kind of all this stuff together, get in the car, and they're still kind of fighting this thing, and she's got him at gunpoint. She's like, you're just gonna do what I say. We're not doing this. You know, she's like, I'm gonna hold you at gunpoint, and he goes, you're not gonna shoot me. She shoots him in the ear, and she goes, I was aiming for something else, and he's like, okay, so he follows her, and
she's like, I was just gonna give you a close shave, but my aim's not what it used to be.
Right, because she nicked half his ear off. So then she talks about the scabbard that is discovered, and I guess it can heal anybody. And she's like, people forget about they always talk about the sword that goes into the scabbard, but they never talk about the scabbards, or the stuff that holds these ancient artifacts. And she's like, it can heal people, it can heal all the wounds, it's actually got a lot of magical ability, it's probably more important than the actual sword. And he's like, well, what sword is it? And she goes, Excalibur. So he's like, the Excalibur? And she's like, basically, yes, the Excalibur. So then she talks about this prophecy that is supposed to be that King Arthur is supposed to come back in times of need or time of darkness.
King Arthur will return in Britain's darkest hour.
Yes. And she goes, but it may have been, there's a possibility that it may have been misinterpreted, and that he may bring Britain's darkest hour. So and then it cuts off, and that's where it ends.
Well, and she alludes that the people that grabbed the scabbard are looking for King Arthur. That King Arthur also did a nationalistic purge of Europe.
Yes.
And
they kind of
tying into
his darker side,
the political tones of today.
Everybody remembers
everybody's nationalistic, and
it
wasn't just saving damsels and
yes, and it wasn't like he was just defeating evil. He also had a lot of issues that were rampant down that time, and so I thought it was a really great number one. A lot of fun. I really, really like the characters. I'm loving this old lady. I really want to find out. I like the son. He's kind of this goofy but kind of capable person, I guess, because he's like a rugby player. He's a little more athletic, so he's like, but he's not like a warrior or a fighter. And so I really feel like this dynamic is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, and he keeps saying that when he was growing up, that she was the one that always poo-pooed the supernatural to him.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're a freaking vampire hunter, and you were the one telling me the supernatural was a bunch of hooey.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Like, and it's funny, and it's like it was. I had to say this is some of his best writing because it was very straightforward. There wasn't a lot of like they basically laid it down. There wasn't a lot of like weird dynamics like he normally does, like this odd, quirky, like dialogue with each other. It really was like set things up, let's knock them down, and it was so good. The art was really talented. It reminded me of a lot of Invincible, Ryan Otley. So I just really really like this one. So I'm looking forward to the second book. I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with it. Although Boom Studios does not have a very great track record, I'm hoping that they can actually do something fun. So fingers crossed. I'd say 4 out of 5 unicorns. I enjoyed it a lot, and it does have a good potential for number 1 to see where it's gonna go, especially with the fun characters. I hope they keep the grandma around. I really hope they don't kill her off so that the guy has to be. I'm like, I'd rather they kill him off than she's funny. So, anyways, all right, go.
That was my 3rd book, so.
Was that? Did I ruin it? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Oh, I destroyed it. You should have said something. Then I'll just do one more and then we'll be done. I'm gonna do Omni by it's a new company. I think I was reading their Ignited series. Humanoids is the publisher. It's written by David Grayson and art by Alita Martinez. So this I did the Ignited review where it's the kids in the school and they all got kind of powers and stuff like that. This is kind of set in that world, and so it's just about this lady. She's a doctor, and she's kind of like a doctor for borders, and all of a sudden she got powers, and it starts off with she's trying to help this guy, and it kind of keeps explaining things in flashbacks, as she goes along, like what she's trying to do, and talks about her being in a operating room with all these with this kid. And when then all of a sudden these insurgent people came in, busted in to try to get them to fix up their friend that got shot, and it's kind of like how they dealt with it. And then they explain that she's kind of got this ability to it's almost like a multitasking ability, but she can like read people and understand what they're like, how to like get what she needs. And it has like this scene where there's several of her bodies like around. And she's kind of like figuring each of the soldiers out or what she needs to do, and she kind of goes through and
that reminds me of the guy from Prodigy.
Yes,
he would do that.
Yeah. So it's something similar. So it's her. Then it cuts back to the present time where they're trying to help this crash bus that they kind of caused the crash. But they're kind of helping the people that are on there, like the driver and stuff like that. And she finds out that her sidekick, who is like kind of a nurse or doctor or another doctor or assistant, is writing a comic book of her. And so she's like, you only write the good things. You don't ever write the stuff that, like, the bad stuff that happened. And then it cuts to her and her sister. Her sister is kind of has this hospital, and so she goes. She basically talks her sister into letting her go see this, because she thinks this other guy that her sister is talking about might have powers also. So she's trying to figure out how these powers are coming into play, what they're doing. So she convinces her sister to go. She meets this guy, and she comes to find out she diagnoses him with a brain tumor. And so they go in and have the surgery, and the guy's fine. It fixes him. So she realizes he doesn't have powers. He just had a brain tumor. And her sister's mad at her because she just, she kind of overstepped her bounds, all this stuff. Then it cuts back to her sidekick, and they actually do meet the guy that has powers that can teleport. And so they're trying to convince him to use his powers and trying to help him figure out how they came about. So that's the whole premise of the book, is like her trying to figure out how powers are coming into the world. I have very mixed feelings about this book. It wasn't bad. It wasn't poorly written. It wasn't like the dialogue wasn't bad. It was actually all really well done. It was just boring. Like, the premise is very boring. Like, I don't understand, like, how you're gonna make this into a... By the time I got done, I was just like, that's it. I really was hoping something would happen, and nothing happens. It's just... It was kind of actiony when they kept flashing back to the soldiers coming in. And I feel like if this was like a TV series, I think they would have a little bit more impact. But being a book, I really didn't have that impact. And with a new character, I really didn't have that impact. So I don't know. I sadly was bored with the book. And the sad part was it wasn't bad. Like, it's just not for me, I think. I think maybe this might have an audience somewhere, but I don't feel like it has lasting staying ability, because I don't see how you're going to make this into...
It didn't have a good hook.
No, like, and I don't care what happens. Like, I'm not looking forward to her other stories. I don't want to know if she's like... Does she find out? I don't care. Like, it sounds really callous, but it's just like, it's just, unfortunately wasn't for me. And the art was really good. Like I said, the dialogue was really well done. It wasn't a poorly produced book. It wasn't a poorly,
I guess they didn't get real good pre-orders. They sent free copies to our local comic shop. And that's, try to drum up some interest. So
yeah, I saw it at the Mike's store, but I just didn't. I had read it before I went to Mike's, and like I saw it at Mike's, and I was like, that's weird that he actually ordered that, because like it's not a book.
He didn't. They sent it to him for free.
Yeah, see, that would be. And say, I feel like the other series too, the Ignited, is actually, it's okay. Like, it's getting there. Like, they're trying to add things, but it's like, you need more of a protagonist. You need something to is it protagonist, antagonist?
Protagonist is
the person that you're watching, or the person that you're...
Yeah.
So they need an antagonist. They need something on the other side that you're kind of either fighting against or trying to figure out. And figuring out why people are having powers is not a good enough antagonistic situation for me to continue on to read your book. I need to figure out, like, is she trying to heal herself? Like, I feel like there had to be something like that was a little bit more, I don't know. There needed to be something different that I sadly was not there. But I mean, and the sad part is it wasn't a bad book. So I give it 2 out of 5 unicorn horns, but I really hope they do well. I hope it finds an audience. And if you're not, if it's more of a drama superhero, this would be it. Like, if you were looking for more of a story superhero. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my pull list, since I screwed James out of a book, and then we'll send you on your way, because we're getting close to time. All right, so I Show's End. It was about a girl that gets in this circus, and the circus freaks kind of befriend her, and then they are traveling different places. Well, they get to this place where the townspeople are not wanting them there, and so their livestock gets attacked by this beast, and they blame it on the freak show. And the freak show is like, we didn't do anything, we haven't done anything, we have our permits. So they kind of run them out of town. Come to find out, the little girl's the beast. So it's like, but the circus people don't know that, and the actual people, the townspeople, killed one of the circus people, one of their little girls that they were kind of all friends with. So I'm sure it's gonna be bad. But unfortunately, it wasn't that well done. Like, the dialogue was okay. The art was weird. I personally didn't like it, but I'd say 2 out of 5 unicorn horns. Hopefully it finds an audience. Ghosted in LA, that is a book that I actually really enjoy. And it is not, there's no action, there's no, like, it's all drama. It's like a 90210 episode with a girl that's kind of, she's lives in this house where there's all these ghosts. And it's just kind of about her kind of dealing with life. Like, her boyfriend's broke up with her, so she goes out with this really big douchebag, and he's horrible to her, but she wants to be able to feel like she's moving on, because she sees her boyfriend move on, and or her ex move on, and she wants to be able to move on, and he ends up being a horrible person. So it's kind of like she tries to get out of it, and it gets kind of weird.
The ghosts are her nice, safe friends.
Yeah.
Her
yeah.
gay friends.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's different ones. There's like and they're all from different eras, and like they kind of take care of her, but then they are kind of mad at her because she brings this guy home, but she didn't want to bring him home, but she felt like she didn't have a choice. He was like kind of pressuring her, and they ghosts kind of save her. But it's actually it's really well done. Again, the art is really talented. The writing is really well done. It is a little bit of a drama. But I for some reason feel for the characters, and like I actually enjoy the characters, and I want to see what's going to happen. So I like that. I really liked it. So I give that a 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. It's kind of fun. Orphanage number 5. I really like this book. It's like Walking Dead was at the beginning when it first started. And I really like that. Like they're in this town that they've been trying to get to. And they are getting ready to be attacked by the church, and the church is they're like they got them surrounded, and they're like sniping people that leave, and so they've got to get these people out of the town. So they make a plan that they're gonna basically mortar shell all of them, and while they're mortar shelling them, everybody's just gonna make a run for it. And so it's really interesting. I like the art too. Is kind of weird. It's like it's almost cartoony, but it's not. There's something about the way that they look, the style of it, that is I really like. Everybody looks kind of young and fresh, because the premise is that all the adults are dead, and these are all the kids that have grown up. And so that's interesting too, to see how these kids have. And they talk about that in this issue, where the lead, kind of quasi leader of this town, she goes, we're holding on to building everything that we had in the past, and we don't know enough about the past because we were so young when it happened, that it's hard for us to build this thing that we don't even know about, and nobody is looking towards the future or trying to be different. And so that's the thing, is like, they're holding on to these things of society, and these things of like power, but they don't know why. It's just because that's what they were so young when all this stuff happened, that this is what they could hold on to make them survive. And so that was kind of like a little bit of a deepness. I was like, ooh, that's a little deep. But really good. I really enjoy this book. Really well done. Dialogue's really well. Art's really nice. Premise is really interesting. So I hope they continue down this road. It felt very much like Walking Dead at the beginning. So hopefully they continue this momentum like Walking Dead did. And not turn horrible. 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. Really enjoyed it. Daughters of Atlas. I have no idea. It's an indie book. I think it's just somebody tried to publish this, and it's not that good. The art's not that good. I can't tell who's who. The dialogue's really weird. The premise is really weird. I'm not for sure. It's very amateur. But congratulations for them getting a book out, because like I could not do this. So I don't want to knock them down too much, and so I won't rate it. But it was just not my bag. It was a little bit more of an amateur book, but good for them. Gangsta Ass Barista. This was actually kind of fun. She's kind of like a wrong side of the tracks girl. She becomes this barista, kind of goes straight. But then this the place she's working at gets robbed. And the guy that these two guys start a fight, and one of the guys leaves his bag, and come to find out the bag had like all this money, so she takes the money, and so she's like, well, I guess I'm not going to, I guess I'm not going all the way, to a good guy. And so it's kind of about her dealing with her kind of dual identity. She's kind of like anti-hero, bad guy, good guy kind of person. And so it was kind of interesting. There's not a lot of action or anything like that, but it was more of a dramedy. But I liked it. I thought it was really good. 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. Punk Mambo, this kind of finished an arc. She kind of goes out and gets all her people back, saves everything. It was okay. I think it's by Valiant. I think it's Punk Mambo, but it's an okay book. Like the art's okay, the dialogue's okay, the premise is okay. I just wish they had. I don't know. There's like I I don't know if I want more action or if I want more explanation or if I don't know what it is. It's not great, but it's just good. It's just okay. So 3 out of 5 unicorn horns, middle of the road for me. Gogor, this one got a little bit political. There was definitely some little political agendas in there, and like kind of digs at society and about how things are, and maybe like it was a little bit of a preachy book, kind of, but that may have been just my bias. I feel like I've been assaulted with a lot of political stuff this past week, so maybe it might have been my bias, but I definitely think this has got a little bit more of a political undertone to it, or a little more apparent political undertone to it, and it wasn't that great. Like, I don't understand where they're kind of going with this. So this one was kind of a downhill for me. Unfortunately, they were doing really good. It was kind of an interesting, kind of fun book. Art was kind of interesting, kind of Usagi Yojimbo kind of look to it. But this particular issue was not my favorite. So 2 out of 5 unicorn horns. I wish it was better. Gwenpool Strikes Back, #1. I didn't even finish this. Like, I got halfway through and I was just done. It was not good. I don't know why. I don't know. The character is fun when she was like when she's like a supporting character, but this one had way too much dialogue. I mean, like, there was literally a page where it was just her standing there and the bubbles were like this big. They took up almost over half the panel, and it was just like dialogue after dialogue and dialogue after dialogue that didn't make sense. I get it, like, I get her somewhat, but then I don't understand it, and then it's just like, but you're kind of supposed to be like that. Have you read anything with Gwenpool in it? It's weird. Like, I didn't like it at all. Like I said, I quit halfway through because it got confusing. I didn't understand what they were doing with it. So I don't know what they're gonna go with that, but it's definitely not my thing. So 1 out of 5 unicorn horns for me on that one. Age of Conan, Valeria. I really thought you would read that one.
I've just ran out of time.
I'm sure.
It was a busy week.
I'm sorry. It always is. You're always a very important man. It was okay. It was okay. Nothing too interesting. It's just about her trying to become the greatest swordswoman there is, and her life, and her brother got murdered, so she's trying to find the guy that murdered her brother, and yeah, it was just okay. The art was just okay. The story was just okay. I don't know. I think the Belite, how do you say it? Anyways, the pirate girl, I think her story is more interesting. This one is not that great. Belite.
Something like that.
Yeah. This one was just, like I said, it was just okay. I felt it was weird too, because the character in the Conan movies, I don't know how this gets to there, but I guess it does at some point. Sharky the Bounty Hunter. I seriously am only reading this because I love Simone Bianchi's art. Oh, his art is just so pretty to me. Like, I just love it. It's just like these beautiful watercolored people, and just like these odd shapes and these different kind of lighting and these weird angles. It's just beautiful for me. Like, I just love it. Story, no idea what happened. None. I can't even explain it. Like, they're trying to save this old woman, and like they do things to save her, and they kind of save her, but they don't. It's just weird. I don't know. And even the dialogue's weird. I don't know. But I just love the art, so I just keep reading the book for the art. And it is merely a guilty pleasure. So if I had to rate it, I would probably say 2 out of 5 unicorn horns. But if, like, for me, I read it for the art. It is purely just to look at, because I just love. I don't know why. It's just a beautiful thing to me. So. But all in all, it was actually kind of a light week. I read some other like paper copy stuff, and I read the House of X or Powers of X, whichever one came out this week, and then I think Outer Darkness was the last one I had to read, and I didn't get to it. So unfortunately, I'll read it tonight though. But anyways, all in all, that was our show for the day, or for the week. We hope you found some really good books for the week. If you can, like, share and subscribe. Ring the bell so we can get notified for new videos. Yes.
Tell your friends.
Tell your pets. We'll take whatever we can get.
Stop people in the street.
Yes. You can wear a shirt with our faces on it. It would be amazing. Speaking of shirts, I got a new Ink and Burn shirt. It's the plaid version. I like it. It's really cool. I'm super excited about it.
For any people that shop at the Comic Empire, there's now Comic Empire T-shirts available for
Oh, that's
order.
right. Yeah, yeah. And eventually I'll try to see if I can get the link if you are a Comic Empire. Comic Empire is our local. We live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it is one of our local longest-standing comic books.
The oldest comic book shop in Oklahoma.
Oh, in Oklahoma, we're even further than that. It is a small little rinky-dink podunk comic book store, but it is nothing
Jam-packed.
Yeah, nothing but comic books. And like, you know, some of the other stores, we have a couple other stores around here that have comics and cards and Magic and World of Warcraft stuff and other, you know, not blocks. What's the new toys that everybody loves? Funkos, yeah. So it's none of that. It is wall-to-wall comic books, you know, above, below, beyond. So it's the one that we've been going to for them since I've lived here. But I'll try to post a link to shirts, and if you can, or if you would like, leave a comment. Let us know if there's things that we could do to help the process of reviewing our books for you, or if you have books that you think we should read that you would like to hear a different opinion on. We would love to hear all of that. But until then, we hope your pull list is full. Bye.